Please, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ ਦੇਖਿਓ because I got a guest from Istanbul, Turkey.
ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ। ਨਵੀਂ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੀ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਮੈਂ ਹਰਪਾਲ ਜਾਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਲੇਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ। ਮੇਰੇ ਲੇਟ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਬੜੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਟੈਲੈਕਚੁਅਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ। ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ ਦੇਖਿਓ because I got a guest from Istanbul, Turkey. This is a company ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਡਵਰਟਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ about the cough mixture and all that, which was very professionally made in India. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਬਹੁਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸਿਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਟਰਕੀ ਵਿੱਚ, ਸਪੇਨ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਇਨ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਡੀਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਫਰਮ ਇਸਟਨਬੁਲ ਟਰਕੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਜੋ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕੁਝ ਕਾਫੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਬੀਇੰਗ ਅ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਮੇ ਬੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦੇਮੰਦ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ। ਸਟੇ ਟਿਊਨਡ ਇਨ। ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਨੂੰ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਗੁੱਡ ਈਵਨਿੰਗ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ।
Good evening, Mr. Bar.
Professor Adam Yeslida, yeah? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Professor, I welcome you on the Late Show. There are people around in 178 countries watching you tonight, and we're so honored and so pleased to have you on air with us. What would you like to say?
Yeah. Yes. I'm happy to involve in this program. I am Professor Dr. Erdem Yeşilada from Turkey, as you have mentioned that. From Yeditepe University, Faculty of Pharmacy, Department of Pharmacognosy and Phytotherapy. Actually, pharmacognosy, I am going to mention that it is a science of natural medicines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professor, firstly, I must thank you. You've given us a good support. We were running your ad on the television for a few months, and I'm sure a lot of people know about you now, not only in the UK, but worldwide. They must have heard about your company's name as well.
Yes.
Right. Professor, tell me something more about yourself. You're based in Istanbul, and I believe you're originally from Cyprus. Is that right?
Yes, I'm from Cyprus originally. My father and mother from Cyprus, although I had born in Turkey, but of course I'm also a citizen of Northern Cyprus, yeah.
Good stuff. Professor, how did you get into these studies? Because what you're doing at the moment is wonderful.
Yes.
And being a professor in especially herbal medication, this is something very brilliant. A lot of people seem to follow that now these days.
Yes. I am involved in this studies since 48 years in the area of herbal products, their chemistry, their healing benefits and quality analysis, and published around 30 books or book chapters and over 400 scientific papers in international and national journals. And phytotherapy especially is really a big real passion. From one side, I also publish popular books explaining or interpreting the results of scientific studies, evidences on the efficacy of herbal medicines for people. On the other side, I have also published many scientific articles on the pharmacological effects of folkloric and traditional remedies to prove their efficacy. This is called as ethnopharmacology. That's my old profession there. Yeah.
Lovely. Professor, in between I might be talking a little bit in my own language so that people could understand what conversation we're talking with each other. Mainly I'll be talking with the English, but sometimes I might say a few words in our language so that people can understand. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Lovely. Professor, I'm going to start by asking you, a lot of people might be blurry on the actual meaning of psychotherapy. Can you explain what it is exactly?
Yes, photosynthesis, especially, as you all know, that is essentially phenomena in the whole universe. All creatures, from the simplest one, microorganisms, to human being, owe their life to this simple, miraculous phenomena. Briefly, plants absorb water from the soil with its organic and inorganic contents through the action of atmospheric oxygen and sunshine. We synthesize hundreds of phytochemicals. These are mainly grouped into two. One group is composed of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids. These are called primary metabolites. And the other groups, these are pharmacologically active ingredients, which are called as secondary metabolites, for example, polyphenolics, saponins, and alkaloids. So, as phytotherapy simply is a science or maybe actually an art to use these phytochemicals for prophylaxis and treatment of diseases. Although use of plants for health benefits dated back to the history of man, the term phytotherapy was first used by Henri Leclerc, a French physician, in his book, The Phytotherapy in 1913. But the book content was that time limited to the medicinal plants in France. Later, the term phytotherapy was used to define the whole European medicinal plants. However, today, the content of phytotherapy has changed significantly, covering the whole world. Plants and healing wisdom from the Ayurvedic medicine, for example, turmeric, ginger, frankincense, or to traditional Chinese medicine, ginseng to ginkgo, or South African traditional medicine, devil's claw, for example, it's been very popular recently, and to South America, for example. All these traditional medicines are now included in the content of phytotherapy. So this is a consequence of current globalization trend, I think.
Okay, Professor, there's another question. Thank you very much for explaining that. Many discussions take place in the scientific arena for the treatment of the COVID-19. What is your opinion from the point of psychotherapy?
Yes. Today, scientists all over the world aim to develop vaccines and effective drugs against COVID-19. The first thing to understand from the scientific point of view, analyzing each new finding in terms of the drug development process, from preclinical studies to clinical human studies, which includes safety evaluation, of course, and then it is mass production, then adjustment to official regulations, commercialization, marketing access, and the most importantly, availability by the people. All these procedures, vaccine or drug development does not seem to be a very quickest way to prevent the spread of coronavirus. In my opinion, it is reasonable rather that we should concentrate the assets in our hands with millions of years of history as herbal ingredients. In recent decades, many qualified clinical studies published in reputable clinical journals which show how active components from herbal extracts are safe and efficient to treat many diseases. The advantage of herbals or such phytochemicals isolated from these herbals, they provide a mechanical barrier against bacteria and virus. Therefore, there is no risk to develop during drug resistant comparing to antibiotic, and may also act on the mutant strains. However, in case of vaccination, it needs to develop specific antibody against the bacteria. For sure, I am not against vaccine or drug development, of course. However, for the time being, we must keep in mind that this will take some time and that we need to find an urgent solution at the moment. So that's the important point, to my opinion.
Lovely. Professor, there are quite a few questions. The time seems to go pretty quick. The next question I have is there any clinically proven study of herbal extract against COVID-19?
Yes. Recently, increased number of publications propose herbal medicine, which may be useful against COVID infection, particularly as a preventive measure, of course. Among these, a clinical study lately published in Italy with asymptomatic COVID-positive patients. In that study, patients were administered 5 different agents, a lozenge containing pomegranate peel extract, turmeric, and ginger. And the other formulation was an antiseptic gargle composed of benzathrin, a popular antiseptic gargle, and a flavonoid containing formulation which was used in Wuhan, in China, which was obtained from a traditional Chinese medicine plant, skullcap, baikalin, and 2 more natural formulations. For these, all 5 different formulations were given 3 successive days to those COVID-positive patients. Samples were taken from the patient's salivary gland at the first day and the last days, and examined by special techniques, PCR techniques, for the change in the viral load, whether virus still in the mouth or not. And according to the results, the lozenge, which is composed of the extracts from pomegranate fruit, peel, turmeric, and ginger, which is called private for a special formulation, phytorelief, proved to inhibit coronavirus in a rate of 91%. It is unbelievable number, of course. Of course, during the 3-day administration. This was far better than the synthetic agent, benzathrin, which provided only 65% inhibition. Other than the product efficacy, one of the significant findings of this clinical report is to eliminate the asymptomatic positive patients from the society. This is particularly important because this will have a high impact to reduce the spread of pandemic. Therefore, it is critical to use this formulation as a preventive measure, as a preventive solution. In another human study, the effect of phytorelief, the same formulation composed of turmeric, ginger, and the pomegranate fruit peel, this lozenge on oral bacterial count was studied. Effect there on oral bacteria count was studied. Firstly, each component in the formulation was tested individually. According to the turmeric provided, one of the components of this formulation, turmeric, provided only 24% inhibition on the bacterial count. The pomegranate fruit peel extract provided only 9.5% inhibition, and ginger rhizome extract provided only 7.5% inhibition. While the combination, the phytorelief itself, demonstrated 84% inhibition. In other words, the combined lozenge formulation doubled the activity on bacterial count in the oral cavity. It's a very, very interesting result. And I have to point out that in order to increase the efficacy of the lozenges, it was produced with gum arabic. This formulation produced with gum arabic, a natural gum, as the main component of many fruity beverages and cola. Through this way, a prolonged activity, efficiency in the oral cavity is provided. Another important specification of this lozenge is also contains no sugar, because sugar is used to stimulate the bacterial growth. Bacteria form biofilm and covers the oral cavity, then start to grow to induce infection. This is also another important point for the specification of this lozenge. Yeah.
Lovely, Professor, that's quite great. I'm glad you explained in detail. Question what is, why Isalva and what importance does it have for our immune system?
Yes. Saliva is the first line defense of the body for external threats, of course. It consists of an enzyme called endogenous enzyme called lysozyme, which has antimicrobial and antiviral properties against bacteria and virus. Clinical investigations prove that the pomegranate fruit peel, turmeric, and ginger rhizomes also inhibit the growth of virus and bacteria by increasing the concentration of this component of saliva, lysozyme, up to 5 times. This is also important. This unique formulation has also been granted with a patent from the European Patent Office for the treatment of mouth, throat, and respiratory disorders. So this means that in addition to its mechanical barrier effect, this lozenge formulation also increase the body's own defense system. So both ways act against bacteria and virus.
Professor, is there any cause if you're under some different medication? Can you still have that? Is there any side effects or is there any reason for concern?
No side effect, because we all use turmeric, we all use ginger, we all use also pomegranate. These are all food products actually, so there will be no side effects. It's very safe.
मैं सारे कहूँगा तुसी अपने प्रोफेसर कोलों गल्लां बातां सुनते हो ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਰਬਲ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਵੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਹਰ ਦਫਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜੀਪੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਲਾਹ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਨਗੋਇੰਗ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੋਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਹਰਬਲ ਲੈਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜੀਪੀ ਦੀ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਕੰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਦੂਰੋਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਰੋਮ ਈਸਟਰਨਬੁਲ ਟਰਕੀ ਤੋਂ एक प्रोफैसर नाल कनैक्शन करके थोड़े पास प्रोग्राम लैके आ रहे हैं ताकि तुसी कोई ना कोई अदे ते फायदा उठा चुको प्रोफेसर द नेक्स्ट थिंग आई गॉट टू आस्क यू इज सो हाउ डज द Takht relief formulation impact on coronavirus and can you please explain in more detail?
Yes. Let's first remember how COVID-19 proliferates in our body. The clinical studies proved that mouth and the saliva is the first incubation center of the virus. Once this virus enters the oral cavity, it binds to the receptors of the epithelial cells in the mouth through its hemagglutinin receptor and starts sucking the content of the cell, our health cell. Once matured, the virus penetrates into the host cell and this means that our own cells, invaded cells, has now turned into a virus-producing factory and start delivering new progeny virus. This is called virus replication. Then they release another enzyme called neuraminidase by the virus and to release and suffusively infects the other cells of the body. As far as herbal's antiviral activity, it mainly acts in 3 steps. Firstly, phytorelief has provided a mechanical barrier in the mucosal surface to prevent virus receptor adhere to host cells. Second, scientific studies have shown that alcoholic extracts of pomegranate, turmeric, and ginger act as an anti-neuraminidase to hinder virus replication and growth. And lastly, the third, it is proven that phytorelief lozenge increases the antimicrobial content of saliva, lysozyme in the mouth. So in 3 ways, phytorelief act against COVID-19.
Professor, I would like you to tell me something more about your Alchem life in Turkey. I think, so let me go back to again about the coronavirus. How many people actually in Turkey are actually connected with the COVID-19? Is it a higher number or is it very much under control in Turkey?
Yes, as far as we know that, of course, we follow from the from newspapers on TV, not so severe as in the United States or any European country. As far as if I remember, recently, deadly number of dead people, 21. It was 21 daily. Around 20, there is a death in human being. The total maybe the number of infectious people, I think less than 200,000, but only 5,500 people have died so far since the beginning in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਫਿਗਰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬੇਬੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਉਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਕੂਰੇਟ ਫਿਗਰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਐਕੂਰੇਟ ਫਿਗਰ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਐਲੀਸ ਉਹਨੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਰਫ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਫਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਡੈਥ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ Professor, I've got 5 minutes to go. I would like you to tell me, how is the hospital or your medical team coping with the cases in Turkey?
Sorry, I couldn't understand.
Yeah, I said with the COVID cases, the infection, how the hospitals coping with the number of people trying to admit for the treatment?
Yes, they once applied, for example, synthetic drugs, a chloroquine derivative, hydroxychloroquine they applied. Also, they apply vitamin D, as far as I know. Sometimes they recently apply antiviral, synthetic antiviral, some medicines. It has been proven that also might be effective. Of course, the lozenge formulation, not for those COVID people, only to prevent for infection and also to prevent from COVID positive people from getting infectious case. So to prevent, just for prevention. In case of disease, in case of disease, you need to apply, of course, some other chemicals. Also, they apply recently some other products. For example, I forgot the name. It was it was used in rheumatoid arthritis. But however, that product also have some severe side effects. Also, in some cases, they use corticosteroids, also have very high side effects. So different agents they use for the treatment, of course.
Doctor, there is no such evidence that there's any medicine in the world at the moment to cure the COVID-19. But the best way is to build the immune system. Would you agree with me that?
Yes. The best way to support the immune system, our immune system. However, if you smoke cigarette, for example, if you drink so much alcohol, if you use so much medicines, I mean synthetic medicines, this will reduce your strength against the COVID-19. So to support your immune system at the moment is very important. So that's why this lozenge also support, for example, this lozenge first affect mechanical barrier on the mouth, but once you digest it, once reaching to stomach and the intestines, it turned out to be a immune supporting compound, because in the body, this time their structure, the phenolic compound structure will change into small molecules, and this will support your immune system. That's the important point.
Doctor, in your mind, which is the best way to build your immune system? Which is the best and the straightforward thing you can do to build your immune system?
Best way to immune system, for example, balanced diet. First, the balanced diet is very important. The second, for example, in Turkey, I also suggest to use black seed. Do you know black seed? Nigella sativa. It's a very popular, of course, spice as well. Black seed, if you pound it before using every day morning, for example, a small teaspoon of pounded black seed mixed with chestnut honey. Chestnut honey itself also have a good supporting activity to immune system. So every day in the morning, you can use such kind of medication to support your immune system. Yeah, this is also another case. Of course, use of, for example, balanced, for example, some medications, for example, beta-glucan containing products also support your immune system. Polyphenolic compounds generally support your immune system. Polyphenolics, ginger contain polyphenolics, turmeric contain polyphenolics, pomegranate contain polyphenolics, green tea contains polyphenolics. Polyphenolics very important to support your immune system, of course.
Professor, we, I think, got to go for a break very soon. Stay there, don't go too far. You probably will have a time for a cup of tea. मैं थोड़ा जिहा दसना चाहां जो भी प्रोफैसर फ्रॉम ईस्टरबुल टर्की तो तुहानूं दस रहे ने इट्स ओनली एडवाइस गाइडेंस हैगी है मैं पहले भी क्या कह हटिया हमेशा कहने हैं जिहड़े मैडिकल शो होंदे ने ये सिर्फ एडवाइस हुंदी है किसी भी तरह तुहानूं कोई एडवाइस मिलदी है प्लीज़ तुसीं अपने GP दे नाल चैक करो कि उन्होंने पता होंदा थोड़ी ऑनगोइंग किहड़ी बीमारी हैगी कि नहीं हैगी ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਥੋੜੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਸੇਫ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਦੱਸ ਪਾਵਾਂ ਦੱਸਾਂਗਾ ਦ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਥਿੰਗ ਇਜ਼ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੌਰ ਕਰੋ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਆਪਣੇ GP ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈਣੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਡੋਂਟ ਗੋ ਟੂ ਫਾਰ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ
ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਨਵੀਂ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੀ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ
Welcome back in the second part. अगर तुसी हुणी देखना शुरू किया मेरे नाल प्रोफेसर फ्रॉम इस्तांबुल टर्की a company Alchem Life जो हर्बल मेडिसिन बनाते हैं तो उन्होंने नाल दे नाल जब उन्होंने एडवाइस की है कि बनाते किदां करते हैं मैं कोशिश करदा तुहानूं पंजाबी च भी समझावांगा तो मैं फिर हमेशा की तरह अपना टाइम आज़ाद करदा I'll talk back to the professor. Hello professor, we're back again.
Yeah, hello again.
Great. Can you hear me all right, sir?
Yeah.
Lovely. Professor, there are a couple of more questions. And after we talked, I would like to talk to the director of the company as well, but later on. Yeah. My next question is, so the company has specialized on plant extraction to produce herbal supplements by using a technology called photo-advanced technology. Can you give us explanation of what this technology is and how does it work?
Yes. Actually, the chemical composition of a plant may vary, depend on various factors. These include, for example, agricultural factors from soil to sunshine, watering, use of fertilizers, harvesting time, and others. And also processing and storage conditions. That's why in the current phytotherapy approach, it is essential to analyze the content, active ingredients content of a medicinal plant by sensitive methods. This means that if you use a medicinal plant for its healing benefits, either crude herb or its extract, we need to know the concentration of the active component in the certain limits, intended limits. This is the most crucial point, most important point for beneficial effects of a medicinal plant. This is called standardization, and standardization is the indefeasibly essential component of current and rational phytotherapy. In order to provide this starting from the agricultural conditions, every step throughout all processing steps, the chemical composition of the herbal material should be analyzed for its active components. And this is a crucial point for all drugs, from either chemotherapeutics to phytotherapeutics. This is the necessary point to provide the aimed healing benefits when used. Phyto-advanced technology is a system that ensures the herbal extracts in standardized quality from the field to the people. Therefore, people should notice the registered code if given just after the name of the herbal extract. For example, turmeric. In case of phyto relief, 311, it is encoded. This means that the active component, I mean curcuminoids in turmeric, is adjusted to certain limits, in-house limits of the company. So that's why this is called phyto-advanced technology. The company apply all these rules into their all products.
Great. Professor, Alchem Life also shows that all the herbal supplements have had clinical tests. Often people don't really understand what this implicates and how exactly this may be a quality control point for the consumer. Can you perhaps tell us how does clinical test works and what and how many people this involves?
Yes. During the drug development, there are two main steps: preclinical studies, and then this follows by human clinical studies, which involves phase 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Preclinical studies generally start from in vitro, I mean bench top assays, such as molecular docking, chemical reactions, isolated cell lines. And then this follow the experimental animal trials. Before marketing for human being, these products are also subjected to series of clinical tests. In the first step, I mean phase 1, they subjected to 20 to 100 healthy volunteers for its safety, for dose adjustment. In the second step, phase 2, around 100 to 300. Then a larger group, 300 to 3,000 of specific patient volunteers. Depending upon the results of these tests, once the green light is given, then the steps for marketing authorization can initiate. This means that after marketing, this means that phase 4 step starts, which will called also post-marketing surveillance. In this case, in this phase, just watch drug use by the people. All chemical drugs, drug candidates should follow these steps. However, the cost of these clinical studies quite high. So that's why the companies marketing the herbal medicine product could not afford such a high cost. On the other hand, it is a common approach that those herbal products originates from traditional medicines may be marketing without subjecting such phase investigations. However, as I mentioned above, even if you prepare then herbal medicinal products from the traditionally used medicinal plants, it is rational to prove that the activity of the final product by a clinical test in at least a small population. This is a crucial point to reach the utmost efficiency. Therefore, the formulations produced by Alchem Life are subject to such a small size clinical investigations to prove its efficacy, as also mentioned previously for phytorelief.
That's great. Professor, what makes phytotherapy special comparing herbal ingredients than standardization?
Phytorelief is very important, not only for COVID or virus infections, but also it is good for bacterial infections. And recently, about to publish a recent, very recent paper, it is about streptococcus, beta-hemolytic streptococcus inhibitory activity. This is particularly important, especially for children. Physicians prescribe continuously antibiotics against beta-hemolytic streptococcus, and it is proven, clinically proven, that this phytorelief also would inhibit the growth of that microorganism. It is particularly important for children, yeah.
Great stuff, Professor. It's been so nice. I've got one more question to ask you. Firstly, thank you very much. One last question to cycle around the COVID subject. What is your own daily protection routine against the virus?
Yes, I believe that we should stay keeping social distance and be cautious, of course. The risk is still there as long as we don't take the right precautions. Besides washing hands, using masks, I use phytolith lozenge because protecting the mouth and throat is the first line protection against virus. Especially when I need to enter a crowded place, I always use phytorelief. It is with me. It is always with me. Another crucial point is here we described how we could protect our oral cavity, mouth, throat by using a lozenge. But also we need to protect another part of our respiratory systems, nasal cavity, because also another threat part is the nasal cavity, respiratory system. For this purpose, we can take the benefits of aromatherapy. For example, eucalyptol-containing essential oils, such as rosemary, eucalyptus, sage, laurel, and carvacrol-containing essential oils, such as oregano, or eugenol-containing essential oils, clove or cinnamon leaf volatile oil. Simply inhale the aromatic essential oil, the oil through your nose, inhale through your nose, and if we apply these measures, all these measures skillfully, there will be no threat for COVID or any other infectious disease. Yes.
Professor, that was really, really great. I really appreciate you coming on here and giving us little advice on the herbal stuff. We go very little time, we go about 15 minutes to go. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੀ from Istanbul, Turkey. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹਰਬਲ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਦੱਸੇ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਖੁਦ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਚਣ ਲਈ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਕੋਲੋਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ 'ਤੇ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਦਦ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ। ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਵੀਂ ਮੈਡੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਆਪਣੇ GP ਕੋਲੋਂ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਲਵੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦਫਾ ਕੋਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਰਬਲ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਈਡ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਹਰ ਦੀ ਬੋਡੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੈਡੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਪੈਰਾਸੀਟਾਮੋਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂ, ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਨੂੰ 2 ਖਾਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਇਟ ਕੁਡ ਬੀ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦਾ ਇਮਿਊਨ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਇਜ਼ ਸਟਰੋਂਗਰ, ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਡੋਸੇਜ ਵਧਾਈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੈ, ਘਟਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਬਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ 'ਤੇ ਕਹਾਂਗੇ, ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਐਂਡ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਡੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਬਣਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਰਬਲ ਦਾ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਦੱਸੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਨੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਸਟ ਆਪਣੇ GP ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਓ, ਉਹ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਦਾ ਹਰਬਲ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਦੇਵੋ, ਅਤੇ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਦਾ ਰਾਈਟ ਪਰਸਨ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ। ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਸਾਡੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਦਾ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋ, ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਦੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਸਟਨਬੁਲ ਟਰਕੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਹੈਲੋ ਸਰ, ਮੋਸਟ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਟਾਕ ਟੂ ਸਰ। Now, it's very difficult name to pronounce, Osbea, is that right?
It's perfectly pronounced.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying my best because sometimes, people get offended if you don't do the pronunciation right. Welcome you on air and so nice of you to come back on the scene. You're doing a wonderful job. First, tell me about yourself.
Well, I was born in Cyprus also, so I graduated the University of Physics and then Nuclear and had an MBA about the business administration and management. And then I started working in the pharma business more than 30 years. I had a long relationship with the Alchem owners, more than 20 years. And finally, we decided to spread the Alchem philosophy all over Europe and the world. And then I start promoting these nice products all over the Europe. We had a headquarters in Geneva, which I'm basically here, and I'm traveling all over the world, UK, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Istanbul, and Cyprus.
And how many people you got working for yourself? Like I believe you got the office in Spain and in Germany and other places as well?
All over the Europe, we except USA and India, we have in Europe organization more than 100 people that is working for Alchem Life.
You got a professor with you, a very experienced man. I think he's an asset to your company. What would you like to say on him?
Absolutely. We have very important professors, and Professor Erdem is one of them. And we have professors in Italy that is supporting with the development. So this is actually when I see them and I see the past experiences that they have, every invention that we have for each product, with of course the Alchem itself, the expertise to have these natural products, we see the inventions like in phyto relief or in other products. It's very exciting. And these professors that we're working together, they are the best in their fields. So it's really a big asset to work with these professors with us in Alchem family.
That's nice. Talking about the COVID now, you're based in Paris in France now. Then obviously you've got offices in Turkey, Istanbul, and in Switzerland, Spain. Let's talk, because I did talk to a professor about the COVID cases in Turkey. How is France coping with the COVID in France?
Well, what we see in France at the beginning, when we have these COVID cases in France, it's just, we had the shock in the elderly people. Then with the strict regulations, with the quarantine, what we say, the people were stuck at home, and with the strict regulations to go out, with the permissions to go out, and the controls that has been done, now we came to a period in France that the COVID patients are saturated and we don't see more cases. This happened mostly in Spain and Portugal as well. And when we release this quarantine period with the social distance, we see that the cases are increasing again. In Turkey, at the beginning, the COVID was very small, but with the open and there was not the quarantine which has been applied, we see that the cases are going up. But all over the world, we are sure that if you keep your social distance and if you protect yourself, the COVID, we can manage it. Somehow, with the release of the conditions and the other, that we can go out, we can share the social distance, then we see it's increasing. What is important, the other thing that we see is there is the season which is going to come in September and October, where we see most of the flu will be coming. So unfortunately, the swan flu or the bird flu or the other ones like influenza will not say, okay, there is COVID, let's stop, let's finish it, and then we attack to the human beings. They will all come together. So nowadays it's important for the countries to take the preventive actions and the protective actions that we eliminate the cases as much as we can. So that for the new season that comes, we are more secured.
मैं अपने ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਐਲਚਮ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਬੇਸਡ ਇਨ ਪੈਰਿਸ ਫਰਾਂਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਬੜੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਐਡ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਦੇਖੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਸੋ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਡ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕੌਣ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਬੜਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਪੁੱਟ ਦ ਫੇਸ ਟੂ ਦੀ ਐਡ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਈ ਦਫਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਐਡ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਇਨਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੌਣ ਉਹਦੇ ਮਾਲਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਐਟਲੀਸਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਜ਼ੁਬੈਰ ਆਮ ਬੈਕ ਅਗੇਨ it's so nice of you to tell me everything but you tell me where do you actually manufacture produce your herbal medicine? Is it in Turkey or in France?
Well, we have the extraction technologies in India. When I mean by the extraction technologies, you need a big expertise about the plant. when you have a company like Alchem Life, which is over 85 years of expertise in these plants, you know exactly where to grow the plants, how to extract them, and when to harvest them. Because this is important. I give very simple information when I speak with the colleagues. For example, we all use mint in our tea. But when we look at the old times, we were easily accessing to the fields. There was no pollution, there were no pesticides, and there was no heavy metals. Nowadays, we go to the market and we buy mint for our tea or for our soup, whatever but we don't know actually where did it grow and which pesticides or antibiotics or heavy metals does it contains or not. Mm-hmm. Now, the importance of the Alchem, it comes that we know the soil and we know when to extract it. Even in the morning, if you collect the mint in the morning, you have the best part of the fluids in the leaves. But if you collect it in the evening, you cannot get the same efficacy. So you need to know the soil, you need to know the plants, and you need to know the extraction capability, how to do it. Mm-hmm. So possibly now we have different extraction possibilities, like the normal reactor extraction with the solvents. We can use a freon extraction, we can use a carbon dioxide extraction, but we need to identify which part of the body or which balance of the plant we have to use it. And accordingly, these professors that work with us and the knowledge of the Alchem family for more than 85 years just make sure that we have all the essence, all the essentials to cure the people at the right dosage. Then it comes, do we know how to combine or how to create the synergic effect? Nobody was thinking in the past, should I add a little bit of turmeric and ginger and let's put some pomegranate? But what we see amazing and very surprising is when you have ginger itself and you try to cure a virus, it gives a certain percentage. But when you combine it with turmeric and pomegranate, you see the efficacy goes to 90%. So this is another art of science to combine different plants in the right proportions to make it done. And then what we did, as Professor described, you need to ensure about the efficacy of the products, which is the essential part of which we have the clinical trials. So all these processes, we ensure that every time you take a single part of an Alchem Life produced product, which is extracted in India, produced in Spain, produced in Germany or Switzerland as a finished dosage, has the same efficacy all over the world.
Lovely. Mr. Osbeer, firstly, I need to thank you because if you remember, your ad was running on our channel right through the lockdown, since from March till last week. At least it's a good idea to bring you on air so that people can put the face to the ad. Now they know that the Alchem ad, which I must tell you that the ad was running every hour on the hour about 12 times a day. And I'm sure a lot of people around the world must have seen that, but that makes sense. You coming on air, at least they can put the face to the ad. They know who the people are behind the ad. What would you like to say on that, sir?
Well, we believe that plant is a science. And we believe that Alchem Life has this scientific leadership for the phytotherapy. And we would like to ensure all users of Alchem Life products that they can use them with the efficacy and with the trust. And we ensure that without having these side effects, with having the balance of the natural products, everything can be manageable. So that's, we want to give the guarantee to our users.
Mr. Ajmer, I thank you again very much from bottom of my heart, from the Akaal Channel team. And we would love to do business back with you again. When you're ready to come back again, do let us know. Thale disclaimer आ रहा है कि जो भी advice हैगी है तुसी वो advice लेके अपनी जीवी को पता करना है. Mr. Ajmer, thank you very much. I've got to say goodbye now. And hopefully we'll see each other in the near future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. It's a nice opportunity to speak with you. And
Likewise.
It's a pleasure for you. And we
Likewise.
will
You have a good
communicate
day, sir. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. ਐਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਸਾਡੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ। ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ, ਇੱਕ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਪੀ ਪਾਸ ਕੰਸਲਟ ਕਰੋ। ਮੇ ਬੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਫੈਕਟਿਵ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮੇ ਬੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜੀਪੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਲਾਈਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਉਨੀ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਲਿੱਪ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਨਾ ਕਰਨਾ। ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਲੇ ਸੇਫ ਦੈਨ ਬੀਇੰਗ ਸੌਰੀ। ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਅਤੇ ਜੋ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨਲ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਟਿਵ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਦੇਵਾਂ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਵੀਕ ਸੇਮ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜੋ 9:30 ਵਜੇ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਾਰਡੀਓਲੋਜਿਸਟ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਬਲਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਸਨ ਇਹ ਕਾਰਡੀਓਲੋਜਿਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਟੀਮ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ। ਆਪਣੇ ਹਾਰਟ ਦਾ ਬੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਦਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕੋਈ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੋਈ ਬੁਰਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ। ਨੈਕਸਟ ਵੀਕ ਸੇਮ ਟਾਈਮ ਸੇਮ ਪਲੇਸ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਖਿਆਲ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੱਖਣਾ। ਅਗਲੇ ਵੀਕ ਫਿਰ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਹੋਗੀ। ਤਬ ਤੱਕ ਰੱਬ ਰਾਖਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।